So I kind of wanted to do a sort of commentary or something on this recent set of animations I did during the 2021 Newgrounds Summer Animation Jam. Hopefully it doesn't come off as too self-absorbed or anything. Like, nobody asked for this, but I just wanted to say what I think of my stuff and what I think of what other people think of my stuff. So first one, the Shifter Part 1. I think this went over pretty good. I didn't get the drawings were cute type of comments I'd get a lot. In the past, I'd get, like, people complimenting my animation, even though I personally think it's trash. And it either feels like, when a parent's like, oh, little Susie, this little crayon drawing of, I can't even tell what it is, it's so good, let's put it on the fridge type of vibe. Or that the standard for this kind of thing is just set so low that it's sad. I don't like that. Anyways, there was one comment that said something about, like, the war is valid, which, like, my goal of the Shifter series, if you want to call it that, was that by the end of it, people would think the opposite of that. And this first episode was kind of a bait and switch for this kind of mentality. I guess it did its job, but, like, it feels weird to see someone just, like, outright say something like that. They didn't make a comment on part 2, so I don't know if they came around or were disappointed or just didn't watch it or what. I have a bit of a problem of overthinking comments, or the lack thereof, which will become very apparent if it hasn't already. I get disappointed if people react the way I meant it to, because it seems too easy, but I'm also disappointed if, like, I try to achieve a certain reaction and it seems to be either, like, ignored or unnoticed. I guess my ideal response would be for someone to basically dissect the animation and be all like, ah, I see what you did there. Which, like, making a video like this is probably going to destroy the possibility for, like, this whole stretch of animations in the future, but I do have other ones that are not part of these. It's kind of like, I don't know, almost designing, like, a bear trap or something at a video game level, and, like, the idea not being for the player to, like, set it off, but also for it to not just go ignored the whole time, but more for people to, like, disarm it and have it as an item or something. I feel like it's a weird analogy. I don't know if it works. I hope I don't sound like a stuck-up artist who's too angry that people can't see my genius or whatever. My problem is I don't think it's genius. I think it's, like, basic. And so, like, I feel like I just kind of failed if, like, I have to explain what I tried to do because nobody seemed to pick up on it, or if people misinterpreted it. I mean, if I explain something here and that doesn't come across at all in any of these animations, I guess, like, speak up about it, because if, like, I am the problem, I want to fix it. If I have indeed failed at communicating my ideas, then I at least want maybe some tips or suggestions on what to do for the next one to not necessarily be better, but more successful in what I'm trying to do with them. I don't really care if people like it if it doesn't do what it's supposed to, you know? I don't have much to say about the plot of this one, as, like, the short directly connects to the second one where there's more stuff. And around the time of the first jam, Simmy and Jimmy announced a short film contest, so I wanted these to be like a two-parter. So the theme of this round for the Newgrounds jam was something like "Don't Sleep," so that's why this one is like that. And then Simmy and Jimmy's contest theme was science fiction, so I thought a plot about, like, a thing-esque Among Us, whatever shape-shifting space monster would be fun. I feel like that's not what the story feels like, if that makes sense, or I don't know, maybe it does. I feel like it kind of is more of like a vampire or zombie story wearing the thing's skin. Or, like, I guess the anime Parasite kind of has a similar sort of setup to this in a way. Although I think in Parasite they're a lot more quiet with infecting people, where in this, like, I don't know how obvious it is, but, like, where the characters are is a little post-apocalyptic. I kind of want to imply that the world isn't quite like that yet, but, like, there are areas where it's definitely like that. I feel like they have a zombie apocalypse vibe. I don't know how other people see these things, because, like, it's easier to feel like you have communicated an idea if you know what that idea is. I don't know, it almost kind of makes me think of, like, listening to Vocaloid songs, like the English ones when you know the words, and, like, if people don't know the lyrics, do they hear words or do they just hear, like, robot voice noises type of thing, you know? Like, I see it because I know it's there. I am not good at phrasing things. I am not a writer. I feel like that's also evident in the characters' dialogue, especially in this. Like, I think at one point Roger says something like needlessly wordlessly when he could have just said something like, you get bored and fall asleep or something like that. But I don't know, you could probably chalk it up to, like, they're just tired or whatever. Next one. Shifter Part 2. God left me unfinished! So, life events kind of kicked me in the balls while I was making this. A few things kind of got sprung up on me that I didn't know were coming and took up some time that I could not spare. And I know it was kind of a risky move to try to make this animation in between the summer jams, but I feel like if I just had like a couple more days to work on it, I could have finished it enough in time. I don't know, I'm still kind of pissed about it. What can you do? I got at least enough of it for it to be coherent. Like, it doesn't seem like there's any holes in what's happening, it's just the characters' mouths don't move all the time. I hate animating mouth movements so much, like, even for stuff like this where I've just reduced it to, like, open and closed in time with the talking, like, even that's just way too tedious, I hate it. It's the worst animating. Ugh. I've been meaning to finish it so I can feel comfortable putting it on Newgrounds since part 1 is on there, and I assume I have some followers on Newgrounds who are waiting for part 2 who aren't also subscribed to me on YouTube, but I don't know, I've been kind of bummed out about not being able to finish it on time, and without the pressure of a deadline, I just don't really feel the drive to go back to it anytime soon. I'm also kind of anxious about how people will respond to it, if at all. Aside from the lack of reaction to the guy I mentioned earlier, I did like how this went over, considering the state it's in. I was really nervous about going in this direction with the story. I feel like people might think this was gonna be like an action horror, only to get into a philosophical conversation about how maybe the monster's nice, though. I wanted this to be the kind of thing where you could go back and watch part 1 several times and get a different experience each time. Like, there's the first time where Roger's presumed human, or maybe not, I don't know, it depends on how trope savvy you are. And the second viewing after knowing that Roger's quote unquote the shifter. And then the third time after watching part 2, where it's a bit more complicated than who's the evil one. I don't know if I should talk about the other bits where I want the story to go afterwards on here or not, because, like, this sort of plot was made for the jams, so I don't know. I'm really finicky about finishing things that aren't for something like a contest or whatever, so this might be the only place where these ideas manifest. I guess, skip to the time on screen if you don't want to be spoiled about something that might not even come into existence. Anyways, if I ever do go to make more parts of this, I want to reveal that, for one, Elliot doesn't actually have ammo in her gun, and she just has it for intimidation purposes, which helps with human conversations, but if a monster decided to, like, attack her, then she's pretty much fucked. And Roger isn't the shifter so much as he's a shifter, although, I don't know, I guess you could, from the questions he's asking, you could probably guess that, I don't know. That he has no idea, like, when or how it happened, and that most of their conversation was just to see if Elliot was gonna shoot him if she sees him grow a tentacle or something. One scene that I partly cut for time, like runtime and the time it'd actually take to make it, and also for, this is kind of dumb and pointless type of reasons, was that I was gonna have Roger, based on the conversation with Elliot, feel like she, and by extension the rest of humanity, weren't going to believe that he's still the same person as he was now that he's infected or whatever, and he was gonna shoot himself, which, the way the animation is, I think I still have him pointing the gun at himself, it just doesn't go off. In the original script, he was going to shoot himself, only to have that be a dream and have it ambiguous how much of their conversation actually happened. I guess because I didn't want Elliot to come off as, like, too cold. But on second thought, the idea seems like it would just be like a cheap shock cop-out move. I think the story's better as it is, now that they actually have to follow up on everything that was said. And Elliot seems to, like, change her mind about it later. And the audience is less likely to question whether everything else in the story is a dream or not afterward if there is no fake out. On top of that, a shot to the head probably wouldn't even kill him, or if it did technically kill Roger, it might not kill, like, the shifter. Yeah, that probably wouldn't be good. I don't know, if anyone was confused by Elliot's decision at the end of part 2. Nobody seemed confused, but it's one of those writing things that nobody talked about, so I don't know, so I, like, worry about. What I was going for was that, like, during the conversation, basically she thought that Roger was maybe talking about a friend of his or something, and I don't know how well this comes across in the animation, but Roger's supposed to seem, like, kind of awkward and maybe, like, socially oblivious or lonely or whatever, so Elliot's probably thinking that Roger might not notice or would, like, purposefully ignore suspicious behavior just for those reasons, which I guess is kind of ironic since Elliot is basically in that same situation, but there was that whole, uh, I mean, most stories are kind of, like, metaphoric or analogous in those kinds of ways, so, like, I think anything just thrown out to the wild is there for the audience to just kind of do with as they please. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling, but I don't know. I guess this is already a skippable section, so I often have, like, this problem with people misunderstanding or just not thinking about things that I make, and I can't tell if, like, I should change something or if it's just one of those things that happens no matter how hard you try. I don't know. In between writing this and looking over it, I had rewatched Hamon Beats debunking Iraqi Forgot videos, and so it does not just happen to me. Next part. Team Owl, a larger problem. Okay, so first off, the title, which it might not be the same on Newgrounds, because there's, like, some weird glitchy stuff with it uploading, so one upload I thought failed, and I think it still had it listed in its things, and so I tried to upload it again, but I couldn't upload it with the exact same title, so on Newgrounds it might just be called Team Owl. But the title card still says a larger problem. I don't know, should I say the stupid edgy reason why it's larger and not bigger? I don't know, some of you are monkey fans, you know. The idea was that this robot was bigger than anything they'd faced before, and that's not what the title is really referring to. The larger problem is how most of the heroes don't really have their hearts in saving the city anymore, if they even did to begin with, and that they spent more time arguing with each other than trying to save the day. I'll admit it's a weird move to start in the middle of a story. My justification being that the theme for this one was Saturday morning cartoons, and it wasn't uncommon for me, and I assumed a lot of other kids back in the day, to catch a random episode of a show as the first one you see, and trying to figure out, like, what is this show about without context. Got a couple somewhat concerning comments who didn't seem to realize what this animation was, as in what it's doing. Or, I don't know, maybe I'm bad at portraying stuff. The idea is that the heroes are tired and don't want to fight anymore, the city's on its last legs, the robots themselves are advanced enough to basically just be people, but are a bit naive and follow orders without question or thinking about how their actions are affecting others, as made apparent with the big guy, and implied with Fowl, since he's also a robot. Because if Fowl knew what the goal of the bad guy was, he probably would have told his teammates by now, and they wouldn't have to ask the other robots. The townspeople referred to the big robot as evil, but it's pretty clear he isn't, and was fine to chat with Prowl, and go so far as to pause his current assignment and go ask about why he's doing it, which means he didn't even know what he was doing. I think stupidity and a lack of asking questions is problematic in its own way, but evil it is not. And then when he blasts off, the townspeople assume that the problem is just solved, but, like, it isn't. Prowl points out that he'll be coming right back. Like, he didn't say, okay, I understand this is wrong and we'll stop doing it from now on. He says he'll go ask about why he's doing it. And, like, he might not change sides like Fowl with a U. He might just come back with an answer and then continue to destroy the city. Or maybe his creator could just say that it's a secret and that's all the big guy would be able to tell them, and then continue to destroy the city. And then on top of that, W, who in this seems to be the one most passionate about saving the city at this point, and is the supposed leader of Team Owl, yet none of his team is willing to work with him, and it kind of crushes his spirit throughout the thing. The whole time he's like, okay team, let's do this, and at the end he's like, we'll deal with it later. Big guys most likely come back sooner than later, and the team, like, they're not ready to fight now, they're probably not going to be ready to fight in a couple of minutes. And, like, yeah, Prowl tried to deal with the problem, but she did it alone without even trying to tell any of her teammates first. And everyone else was bickering so much that she just decided to take her chances with the threat of the week instead of communicating with her teammates. One of the two problem comments I alluded to earlier was one on Newgrounds that just said, wholesome.
Step back, I think I'm gonna vomit!
Which is very yikes to me. I don't know, for me that word has become overused to the point of meaninglessness, similar to like the cute, cool, good, amazing, whatever kind of comments. Also, I don't know, for some reason, like, with the word wholesome specifically, I don't know if it's just, like, moist with some people or something, but, like, I just don't like it. I don't like that word. Don't call things wholesome. You can call them, like, sweet, or I'd take cute over wholesome. I don't know, I don't like it. I don't know, sometimes I'm wondering if it's, like, some sort of weird dog whistle thing, but what could it possibly be signaling? Ugh. I don't know. Maybe I'll just censor it from the comments, so even if you try, it's just going in the, you gotta review these before they can be comments, and I can just say no, or let the 30 days or however they do it. And, like, I didn't mean it for it to come across as wholesome. I mean, I guess I think it's cute, maybe that, like, Prowl was clearly scared, in that it did not end with her getting beaten up, I guess. I guess that's all it takes to be wholesome? I don't know. The city's, like, in a downward spiral. The heroes are in a downward spiral. The problem has no obvious solution. The citizens have no idea what's actually going on at this point. Just because the big guy in Prowl didn't throw hands doesn't mean they did the right thing. It's like mild relief at best. I don't know, is that all wholesome needs to be? It's just not the worst thing. Most things are wholesome, then. Stop calling it wholesome, you've ruined the word. I'll take kitsch over wholesome. I don't know why this specific word makes me so angry, but it does. I know earlier that I, like, basically advocated for death of the author, which, I don't know, do I need to explain it? Sometimes I don't know how much stuff is in the public consciousness online and how much stuff needs to be explained, because I've watched so many video essays on YouTube that, like, concepts like death of the author seems like easy things to know. I don't know, is this weird pretentious stuff? Anyways, death of the author just basically means that the author's interpretation of a work once it's out is no more important than anyone else who watches it. So basically, if something is not directly in a work itself, then whatever the author says about it isn't necessarily true because it's not in the book or whatever the piece of media is. Although that still requires you to, like, pay attention to the whole thing. I don't know, man. The other comment that, like, I'm not upset about this one, I'm puzzled by it. It was about, like, Prowl and W fusing, which I know it's kind of ambiguous what these characters' power set is or what it comes from, but despite the art style, these are intended to be human characters. I think I have, like, an animation meme of Don't Stop the Music that shows, like, what their normal outfits are. And, like, there are other clear humans in the animation that have weird skin colors, like this just an art style thing. Then again, there are shows that have, like, humans in it that technically are able to fuse. I don't know. I guess I should make their power set more clear in the future if I do make more of these. They could probably, like, combine attacks in some way. I don't know what exactly their attacks would be. I know that, like, it's kind of related to how their costumes are sectioned off. I don't know how noticeable it is. The, like, different colors on their arms and legs are, like, different lengths, so, like, the ones with the leg things would have, like, leg-based attacks. I don't know if they should be, like, summonable weapons or armor or something. I didn't fully think out, like, the actual combat situations of this, because for me, the actual plot of what the characters go through in this, I like jokingly told my brother that this was like depressed Power Rangers, but the only one who's like depressed is like the blue one, maybe. Although, if they fight the big guy, they could probably do like a combo attack or something, but like, it's just a band-aid on a bullet wound. Like, it's not really about overpowering a bad guy to them at this point. It's like, I don't know. I feel like the comment was coming from a place of like, wouldn't it be cool if, or coming from a place of seeing the robot as the problem that needs to be solved when it's, well, I already said like, the problem in the title is alluding to like the problem with the team dynamics, but the sort of, I guess, the plot problem that the city has to deal with is there's some dude making robots who are attacking the city. Then again, a lot of shows kind of have this structure anyways, so they don't see it as like that big of a deal, but I don't know. I guess it's too much bait, not enough switch. I guess it looks a little too much like what it's satirizing for it to click, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe there's just not enough of it for that to work. I do have other story ideas where characters fuse, so if, like, the idea was just that, like, hey, fusion would be cool, I want to see them fuse. I think it's public right now. I remember I unlisted a couple, of the hornier videos because I thought it was weird how many porn accounts or porn-loving accounts were following me on Newgrounds. Like, sometimes I checked the favorites section and I was, like, the only E-rated thing in there, and I was wondering if, like, maybe I shouldn't do fake porn anymore. I get, like, weirdly paranoid sometimes. I think I got over it on YouTube, at least. I think the thing with Robin and Ingzend is up again. The fanfic reading, which, I don't know, if anyone's, like, scared about it being not safe for work, they do swear there is blood. Ingzend does take off its, top part of its robe and you see its chest, but it's like, it's a nightmare creature, there isn't, like, stuff there, it's just eyes. And it's not even, like, two eyes, it's like, I don't know, I feel people have, like, noticed this, that the character Ingzend is, like, based off of a bunch of Kirby final bosses, so, you know, Drossia's soul form, they're kind of splayed out similar to that. Although it is apparent that it is basically just Zero Two in the face. I don't know, I might change its design so it's a little less obvious. I don't think it's that big of a problem, though, because it is, like, mostly humanoid. I don't know, I might cut out this tangent. So the joke with Robin and Ingzend fusing would be that, like, it's kind of like a dark running gag that Ingzend is in constant pain, and then Robin isn't, like, able to be hurt because he's like a slime, and so, like, them fusing would just be that they become, like, this writhing, useless thing. Sorry about the tangent. If any of my other characters or story ideas seem especially interesting, tell me, please. It'd be nice to have a priority list of some sort if I want to, like, make things on my own time instead of for a contest or whatever. Part of my problem is I have no idea, like, what I should be doing. And then sometimes when I ask for this kind of thing, like, people just seem to pick one of the most recent things I've done, and so it kind of just feels like they don't care and they just kind of, like, glanced at the first thing that kind of caught their eye. I don't know. Most of my characters and a couple written things, although again, I am not too proud of my writing, are on ToyHouse. Link in the description. Sorry for the tangent. On to the next one. Number 4. The theme was fan art. I had to skip a prompt because I like being able to say that I did one for each one of these. In, like, contests and events like these are one of the few ways I can motivate myself to, like, definitely make something, because I can be sure that at least one person will watch it and will, like, think about it and compare it to other things and not just decide, yes, I like this, or no, I don't like this. Like, if they do like it, it's like, do I like it more than this thing, though? And I want to know. That's partly why I hate it when I just get the one-word comments of, like, cute or whatever. Or if they just say, like, oh, I like this. How much do you like it? Compared to what? I don't like it. I have eyes. I think my animations look janky as hell and my writing is cringy. One of the few bits of tangible advice I'd gotten about trying to, like, fix the... I feel like I have a disconnect between me and the people who like my stuff was that I should just stop drawing fan art. I don't know if that advice is any good, but it's all I got. Seemed to make enough sense to me. If people are only around for the chance that you might draw a character they recognize and then just ignore all of your own stuff, then they're just dead weight, and if your followers aren't interacting with most of your posts, then the algorithm is, like, screwed against you. So I swore off fan art. Even if I hadn't, the smaller details of the prompt basically made it impossible for me to make something compelling. I think the only game on Newgrounds that released in 2021 that I'd spent a significant amount of time on was, like, Super Auto Pets. No. Number 5. Never-ending Dance.
Number 5. 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 Number 5.
Ugh, I couldn't even get close to finishing this one. My laptop was kind of fucky after a crash, and I lost a day trying to fix it. But even if it hadn't, I probably wouldn't have been able to finish this. And even then, it's at a frame rate that I'm not really used to animating on, so the timing looks all off. I really gotta scale back these projects, or I don't know, I might be burnt out, or burning out. Conceptually, this one was pretty sound, at least in my opinion. The one on the left is supposed to be doing the Fortnite default dance, and the one on the right is doing the JoJo torture dance, because I don't know how to do dance choreography, and just went with ones I thought were funny. They got some twirls in there, because why not? The Fortnite one actually ended up really smooth somehow. I don't know if I really want to finish this. Like, the reason it exists has come and gone. It is what it is. Then again, I did use my brother's characters, and I feel like I owe him some art for things I won't get into. So I might try to finish it at some point, but probably not. As far as comments go, I got one that gave me the old, "it'd be better if it was finished." Like, no duh. I'd be really fucking concerned if that wasn't the case. And another that implied they recognized the torture dance, which actually made my day, honestly. Because, like, I wasn't sure how recognizable these were, because they're at, like, a little bit of a different angle than you typically see them. That's about all I had to say on that. I guess I'll probably have a link somewhere of Lord Nitro's channel. Or Gaylord Nitrogen, whatever he's called on this site. It kind of varies. Number 6. Epic Trailer. I think I actually went out on a high note with this. Because of how badly some of my other things went, I scaled this one back a bit and actually got it done without crunching too much. I took my time on those backgrounds. Not sure if they look all that competent, but I did get a comment on one of them that at least confirmed that the flesh cave does indeed look fleshy. I got my brother to voice the detective because I wanted this character to actually sound like a grown man. The other male characters I've been voicing for this set of animations have been pretty young, even if a lot of them are still technically adults. Even the Scorpion's supposed to be an adult, but I wanted him to sound as non-threatening as possible. I've noticed the theme of the monster's not evil in these animations. Not sure if there's anything to make of that. I don't actually plan on making this an actual series, at least not any more than any other concept I've come up with. But there were some things I thought up that I either didn't explain fully or had just left out, so the spoiler time clicky go. So the reason the cave is fleshy is because it is a living being. I think that should be pretty easy to guess, though. An early draft for the trailer was that there was going to be parts of a conversation between the detective and the Scorpion, where the Scorpion mentions that the cave speaks to the bug people using pheromones. He also says that the cave itself told them that once they're bugs, if they try to leave, they'll die. The detective replies saying that he has reason to believe that the cave is lying in order to keep them there. Scorpion admits that he had suspected as much, as the cave doesn't seem to like it when they let humans leave. The detective then somehow manages to drag the Scorpion outside, where he immediately turns back into a human. The detective would then title drop the "Holy hell," and the trailer would end. I think I'm done animating shorts for a while. My Ko-fi's in the description. Commission me, please. Or donate, or whatever. Other contacts also in the description. If an app or site isn't listed, then I'm sorry, but I'm not going to communicate with you on it. Also, I guess curious to know what your favorite this set of animations was.